For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Telling you guys a bit of a review video on a brand new tent from Outdoor Revolution. So with me here today, I've got the Outdoor Revolution Cayman Campstar. So I've got a Campstar 700 SE. So the Campstar 700 SE is basically a new tent for the 23 season going forward, and it's all part of the Cayman range, but with a difference. So the SE refers to having a physical side pod built onto it, and a double one at that. Now, if you're not kind of familiar with kind of the Campstar range, basically it's Outdoor Revolution sort of maybe price pointed range, something that's necessarily compromising on quality, but gives you a good tent for a price point. Main key features and a lot of space and value for money. So what you find is actually, including the price, you get a footprint and carpet as standard. So again, it's one of those things you haven't got to worry about. That's the set price, and you get everything you need necessarily into it itself. So what we've got here is a 120 HD fabric, which is basically about a 70 denier material, about 3000 mil hydrostatic head. So it's nice and waterproof and comparable to what you see at about the same level from other brands in the marketplace. Then certainly I think for me the SE was really nice. That whole double side pod, as we can see here, opens the doors to lots of possibilities. So a lot of people will use it for as an extra bedroom, which you can buy additionally, even for storage. You know, you can really do what you want with it. The pole for this extension is of course fiberglass, again to make it very kind of price savvy, and you've got guy ropes throughout the whole tent to obviously get that extra bit of stability when you need to. Low level ventilation is going to help obviously circulate the air inside the tent and hopefully keep it a bit fresher even on a warm day. But we've also got, it's a free zone tent in theory, so you've got sleeping at the back, your main living area, and then sort of the front section. So, and to be honest, they also do one that sits above this, so you can always go for the 900, which essentially gives you two side mix annexes, what you can call it. So one off the left and one off the right, and it sort of emulates kind of their classic kind of air diagram, something they've been certainly notorious for the last number of years. The front door, as we can see it here, has the possibility of opening up to bring the outside in. So the door opens from right to left, as you see it here, and you can go in sort of a third, 2/3 completely open if you really want to. And you do have a sort of an extra zip puller normally on there if you want to create yourself a little kind of almost veranda. So that can drop down, so you still have airflow, but not have necessarily the dogs and anything come out of it. A zip's located on the front here. There's additional kind of sun canopy you can buy if you wanted just to extend that a little bit further. And there's also the option of a side annex, which will have side porch, I should say, which should go on the right hand side. Again, if you need any more space and you're sort of toying up between, say, the 700 and a 900, that again gives you a nice offering. We have done a pitching video of this as well, so you can check that out on our website. It took me in the region of about 11-12 minutes to pitch the whole thing, which for one person I think is really brilliant considering the sheer size of the tent itself, because it's certainly not the smallest. Looking in the width on a region about 460 thereabouts in terms of width, so it is a very, even though it's essentially 700 for me, I'd say it's a very generous 6 or even an overly generous 5. But because you can buy an additional bedroom, for me to go in that separate section, really it has the potential to be a 9 or very comfy 8 without compromising on your main living space. We'll open up the front door and just have a little pop inside of it. So in the front section here, you do have actually curtains. So if you wanted to get that complete kind of zip up and privacy in the front section, that generally works really quite nicely. They simply roll out from the side parts, and same with actually the side panels within here as well. So the part here is actually fixed on the side, so the door is not necessarily removable, but is designed to sort of roll from left to right to give you that bit more of an open space. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's kind of swing the camera around, look down the barrel of the gun, and then we'll talk through a load more features that the Campstar has to offer. So now inside the tent, you can probably appreciate kind of the sheer size to the 700 itself. You know, I'm 6'2", stand up in the middle quite happily. Maybe when we get to the end, it's a little bit on the side. Actually, no, too fair. That's pretty good. I will take that. But the canopy sort of depth actually is quite sizable as well. You know, happily have sort of cooker unit stoves in there, or if you want to, whatever you want to do out the front here, store your sort of bikes. You got tons and tons of room around here. As mentioned on sort of the outside, we've got windows to either side to obviously allow plenty of visibility in, but curtains that physically toggle up, and you can toggle it to halfway or fully up to the top just to get that level of coverage that you want to. On the front door, what I didn't mention is there's little clips located on the front here, so that way when you have it in a sort of a third, 2/3 and whatever open, the weight isn't necessarily on the zip itself, it's just on isolated at that point, so it's not going to carry on going when the wind does come. We step into the kind of main living area, and you've got the flexibility that you can open up to obviously the middle of the door or open it fully back. Now, in this sort of door that actually obviously goes back open, you've got a mesh built directly into it. When you come into the middle, it's a solid panel, so you can have your airflow in, and most people probably mostly have it this manner. If not, when they open it up, have that free flow in. And because this panel is physically fixed on this side, it's naturally going to be the place you're going to have like a cooking unit. And again, because the door replicates that sort of openness, you naturally, again, you can have one panel back, and you've got almost a little bit of dead space quite nice and neatly there. You have still got curtains on the inside, which again toggle up for the mesh panels if you wanted to kind of stop anyone necessarily seeing through, if you really wanted to. So that works really nicely. Other things to mention, the fact as well, is that you've got this sort of double bay kind of main front section. Mesh door on this far side, so you have the airflow coming in from there, even when, say, you know, essentially at night time with a light in here, the flies aren't going to come flying through, and naturally you would kind of zip that up to that point of view as well. We've talked about on the where you can actually in theory make this kind of a 9 berth by buying an extra bedroom to go in the sort of the double side annex, and you can actually buy an extra 2 berth bedroom if you really wanted to go in the front section. It is going to take up the space literally along here, which you'll find, apologies, that way. So it's going to interrupt it, but really probably you're not necessarily going to do that, but pop it up maybe during the night time, sleep someone, take it down during daytime and utilize that space. It does take about a quarter of your living space up entirely. 2 windows again on either side of the sort of tent with low level ventilation beneath it, and again toggle up curtains to go over halfway or fully up to the top. Now, Outer have got numerous sort of unique things to their sort of arsenal. One of them being kind of the ability of having up or down lighters. So it's almost like a lampshade part that can velcro onto there, put little lumi lights in that flood the tent with light without having to have something hanging down. Alternatively, if you like that, hanging point located down sort of right in the middle of the actual tent, and velcro tabs lead down quite nice and neatly. And what you essentially would do is you can go to a cable entry point which you've got located down the bottom itself. From a sleeping point of view, obviously you've got the capacity to sleep up to 7 as you go. It's designed really it's sort of like a 2, 2 and sort of 3 more in the middle. The bedrooms are slightly darker material as well to hopefully reduce early morning light. There's a bit of a lighter panel at the back, so you can actually see a bit of light come through. So it's not going to be to send a blackout, but it is a nice sort of little feature. Due to the specification of the tent, there's no additional ventilation point in the front of the actual bedroom. It's just a solid bit. So again, you're relying on the ventilation right at the back really more than anything. Bedroom you leave in place, you haven't got to take out each time, which is again is a big thing. But because you've got dividers that toggle out, you know, you can create the sort of setup you really wanted to. So if you want it to have a bit more open, you can remove the dividers more than happily, and they are, like I said, toggle rather than zipped, purely down for the price point of the tent itself. In the side pod, there is a bedroom that you can put inside of here. For me, you can utilize it for storage, you can utilize it for sleeping. It doesn't really make a difference. It does kind of almost engulf all of your crap, shall I call it, into there. You can then zip it up and you almost forget about it completely, but it's there in the sort of safety of your own tent as and when you want it to be. I'll tell you what, pick the camera up, let's come inside and we'll have a little bit more of an up-close look at some of these features that I've just mentioned. So, as mentioned, we get a side profile of kind of the front section. Like I said, very generous, works really nicely, and even actually you've got a hanging point located directly in the front panel itself. But this zip panel here, it can fully open up. So if I actually take it down, unclip it, and again, you've got a nice zip along the bottom. So even if you've got no flat entrance, so there's a flat entrance, you get a much more thorough sort of fit against the actual bugs. And there is a toggle point to kind of put that door back. So that kind of changes the dynamic a bit more, and you can see kind of how much more open it is. And like I said, it creates that whole kind of additional section to it. Ventilation below the windows previously mentioned, with also the curtain as well. And then you've got that little side mesh door quite nice and neatly. the bedroom scenario, we've got storage pockets built into the side of the bedroom, and there's even a little cable entry point in the two ends. So you have the left one and the right one, which is a little bit confusing, I suppose, because the middle is probably more the master. But at least your kids can have electric charge their phones at night so they don't die. The phones, not the kids. Then we've got obviously hanging points in the back here for a lantern located there, but you see how it's a little bit lighter at the back, and then you've got those toggle dividers, so you can see there's a little bit of a gap there. But it's, for the price point, you're basically all about just getting a little bit of sort of privacy from away from the person you are still sleeping in a tent at the end of the day. Then we've got the sort of additional extra part, so it's completely dead-ended, so there's no way of getting out. You've still got a sort of cable point coming directly into it right at the back there, but then you have got clips, like I said, to take that extra bedroom. Unfortunately, there's no wardrobe hole like you get with the Airedale. So really what you're looking at here is a like-for-like product in comparison to the Airedale, but more on a budget strain. So again, you have slightly thinner material, lower waterproof rating, fiberglass pole rather than sort of air pole, zip dividers, so you can really see where you can pick and choose what you want with the actual product itself. So yeah, you kind of take your money, pick your model. I think generally it's quite nice, and like I said, if you really want to go something bigger, you have the option of either buying a side porch to go on the side of this, or failing that, go up for the 900, which essentially means that you can then actually have two parts. You can then have one for storage and one for sleeping, and the 900, which you can check our little video review of that, does come with that bedroom, but by all means have a look at that anyway. For more information on this, as well as sort of other things you can buy, features, specification, floor dimensions, check the link below this video, take you straight to our website with all the information there, including the price, of course, as the package deal as it is. But all in all, nice tent. I think a lot of offering, and I think for those people who can't necessarily afford the Airedale, I think is another good option for who wants the space but not necessarily have the budget to go with it. So I think all in all, main core features, tick boxes, a few things that would be nice to have, a bit more ventilation in the bedrooms, for example, but admittedly you've got to compromise something when you need to keep the price a bit more affordable. But yeah, that's our little video review. For more information, we'd love to hear from what you actually think as well, so feel free to comment in the box below and let us know what's going on. But thank you for watching, and hopefully it's been helpful, and we again hope to see you again soon.